Well, I'll be damned. Hello, son. Hey, Dad. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today, let's take a look at the Hasbro, bringing the camera back, Marvel Legends Black Widow movie wave. I know this is late. I got this wave a month ago, or well, what? Time has no meaning anymore. I found an end cap at Walmart, I picked him up, and then boop, gone. I haven't seen him again. This was originally scheduled to come out right before the movie, and then through the hype of the movie, and then you buy the figures, you see them, you're all excited, you want the plastic, and But then because of global craziness, the movie got pushed back, so these just kind of, and then into the ether. But they're still Marvel Legends. They're still action figures. So I had to get them. This wave, of course, consists of Black Widow movie figures. There's Taskmaster, and there's Red Guardian, and Black Widow herself, and then Yelena Belova. And then comic characters like Marvel's Spymaster. Who else is back here? There's Winter Soldier, and Crossbones. On the side, we get nice, pretty artwork for all the characters in the wave. I especially like Crossbones for some reason. They're all nifty, but yeah, he's my favorite. On the back, character art for each with a bio. You get the rest of the figures in the wave, and then it shows the Build-A-Figure piece off to the side. Down here, you have warnings and readables, and I ran out of stuff to say before getting to the last one. On the side, same. On top, come here. The movie characters have the Black Widow logo. The comic characters just have Marvel. On the bottom, UPCs, much more legalese, but I'm going to get these open and see what's going on here. Let's do Spymaster first. And basically, this is a design plastered over the Bucky cat body again. But you know what? I am okay with that. The official handbook of the Marvel Universe was my Bible when I was a kid. Every morning at breakfast, I would just be scouring through that thing, reading every word, looking at every picture, memorizing. And for characters like Spymaster, where I never actually read a comic book with him in it, I knew of the character because of that handbook. So it was a perfect marketing ploy back in the day. The tampo here on the chest is fairly nice and clean. Of course, it's just a dagger with a grit behind it. And then the belt is actually unique. They could have easily just reused something from somewhere else, but they put this S on here. Shop smart. Shop S-Mart. No, that's for Spymaster, of course it is. Have these canisters on the side, come around to pouches in the back because you always need pouches, a holster, which we'll get to in a minute, and then of course the rest of the body, like most characters that use the Bucky cat body, is just painted on. There's the yellow boots, the blue undersuit, nothing much else to it. But they also gave him a unique head sculpt too. This design here on the forehead is sculpted in. Again, they could have easily painted that onto a generic masked head, and they didn't. Although it looks like he's crying. Really short and sweet, but again, Bucky cat body, it's usually just a few new parts and some paint. We're also fairly used to the articulation here of up and down on a hinge with a ball at the top, even though it doesn't give you much tilt. Swivel, arm hinges up, swivels around, rotation at the bicep, good range at the double elbow, hinge and swivel. Hinge at the torso, nice crunch, arc back, rotation at the waist. The belt is loose, so you can move it up if you want to hide that joint right there. Ball coming out to the hip, goes, well, a little past 90. Back out, we're still struggling here. Rotation at the thigh. Double knee, that wasn't the joint, that was actually my knuckle. I'm getting old, boys. We can do it! Bing! Swivel at the boot, hinge at the ankle, goes back, goes forward facing pin for rocker. He comes with a red gun, nice little design. I don't even have it in the trigger, get up there. The red does not match his overall design at all. It sticks out like a sore thumb, but it is accurate to his old handbook. It's not the same style gun though. Is that an 80s laser tag gun? It is, isn't it? But you can have him holding it, or it fits down here in the holster. Spymaster stands at about 6 3/8 inches tall. Here he is with the Riders Black Widow and the 80th anniversary Iron Man. And then, at least for me, another couple of handbook alumni. I feel like the Bucky cat body, even though I get sick of seeing it after a while, and a lot of people say the same thing, I feel like it's kind of perfect for characters like this. And Eel was another one. Next up, let's take a look at the reason for this wave, movie Black Widow herself. And it's Black Widow. I feel like I'd be a little bit more excited about it, but it is essentially the same figure as we got with the deluxe White Widow. White Widow! All except the upper torso. The Black Widow here has a different strap thing coming up over the top. Well, then there's the difference on the back too, this backpack device thing, instead of just the straps from the White Widow. It's a nice day. Other than that, same figure. Same head too, but I feel like the paint apps on the Black Widow, it seems sharper, but I think that makes it more cartoony. The softness on White Widow actually adds to the realism. There's also a difference in the hair paint. The Black Widow is it's a little bit more red, but I do really dig the two-tone costume. Black playing off the gray, it brings out a lot of the detail. And then that's accented nicely with red punched here in the backpack, little red on the shoulder pads, golden red at the belt, and then of course there's gold for the stingers. I did have a problem with this right elbow being stuck, but now that it's loose, it does move nicely. But it has one hell of a detent in the swivel there. The belt with the holsters coming down around the legs, all separate piece. You can slide it up a little bit if you want to move the belt around. Or you can bring it down. The shoulder pads go up into the torso to get out of the way. So a nice little feature there. Articulation, there is a hinge up there. But with the hair and the backpack, there's not a lot of up. Not bad down. No. Swivels, hinges up, swivels around. Single hinge at the elbow, but it does come up past 90, then rotates. Hinge, swivel. Ball joint mid-torso, goes back, looks odd. Not a lot of crunch, though. Oh, tilt. Then, of course, rotates, because there's nothing at the waist. Ball at the hip goes up, not a lot of back. Out. Yeah. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee. Oh, yeah, easy. Boop, 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 boop. Hinge at the ankle goes back, forward. And then, because of the high heel, the pin kind of goes down, so you get more rotation than tilt. For accessories, Black Widow comes with 2 fists. Those pop right out. She comes with 2 trigger fingers that are appropriately hinged up and down at the wrist. She comes with 2 screwdrivers, 1 Phillips, 1 flathead. Actually, I think these are some kind of whip things, or I don't know what crazy weapons they have in the next movie. But there's also holes in the backpack for that to go down there. That looks okay, but I feel like they should be further down. Like this should be here. I don't think it goes in. No, there's no way it goes deeper because that's physically impossible. And then she comes with 2 small pistols for some sweet dual wielding action. And they fit perfectly into the holsters. Look at that, she can store all her weapons. Black Widow stands at 5 7/8 inches tall. Here she is with her reuse buddy, the deluxe White Widow that came out a few months ago, and then the Rider's Black Widow, which scales consistently with the Marvel Legends Infinity War Black Widow and then the Marvel Legends Endgame Captain America. Next up, a little bit of Crossbones. And Crossbones was probably one of my favorite Captain America villains when I was reading comics back in the early 90s. I think it was about the time Cap was all, oh, can't do drugs, so I gotta give up my powers, or it's been a long time since I've read those, but I remember Crossbones being a big part of that. So to get a comic-style Crossbones, I'm very happy, but I think I'm spoiled by the modern look. I think that makes this a little bit plain. The body itself's complete reuse from Hyperion and Radioactive Man and Captain Britain. It still has the 2 holes in the back for that original cape. Same pec shelf. Flex! It does have the baggy pants look that we've seen more recently on this body, but then down to the plain boots. They're just shiny. I do like that it's different sheens. This looks more cloth-like than the leatherness of the boots. Then the torso's in black to make it look like a sleeveless shirt, which works well with the articulation scheme, and then just the crossed bones. I'm not sure if the pouches around the wrist or the belt and then the holsters are reuse, because I'm missing a crossbones or 2, I think. But those help a lot to add to the design of the figure. Metallic look, metallic paint on the buckle, but you get to the pouches, the holster, the pouches out here. Well, they did add some gold right there. Otherwise, it comes across just plain plastic. I'd like to see the buttons punched in with paint. The head, I'm not sure if it's reuse. Again, like I said, I'm missing a Crossbones or I can't find them, but this is Crossbones through and through. Is that a seam line or is that just paint overspray? 2 tampos for the different parts of the head. And then the straps on the back, which I really like, because that same story I was talking about earlier, I think Cap beat Crossbones by pulling the straps and the eyes went up over his eyes and then Cap kicked his ass. And then standard articulation for this body, hinge at the neck, way up, buries the chin, a little bit of tilt. Swivel, arm hinges up, rotates around. Bicep, double elbow, good range, especially for a muscle guy. Up and down hinge on a trigger finger. Swivel, crunches forward, arcs back. My back. Rotation at the waist, hidden by the belt. Ball joint at the hip, back, out. Yeah. Swivel at the thigh, again, nicely hidden by this strap right here. Double knee, oh, too bulky. Swivel at the boot, hinge at the ankle back, forward facing pin for rocker. Ooh, the hands are stiff as hell, get in there. Crossbones comes with 2 of those same laser tag guns that came with Spymaster, only this time they're in a lighter metallic swirly twirly plastic. Are these the guns that's supposed to go in his holster? I don't think so. Well, okay, I guess they do. He also comes with 2 of these, whatever the hell these things are, big old pistols with double barrels, and they're too big to go in the holster. So laser tags in the holster, and he can dual wield the big hand cannons. And actually, that's badass. Here he is with the Marvel Legends MCU Crossbones, which you don't realize how small that is until you actually put it against other figures. And then an older version of Crossbones with a terrible body. But man, I dig that vest. At some point, I may have to see what that looks like over here. And then here it is with the 80th anniversary Captain America and an older Marvel Legends Red Skull. Don't do drugs, kids. Next up, the movie Red Guardian. And poor Red Guardian. I feel like he suffered a little bit because Hasbro has to start so early in the process. They're using preliminary art and sketches, and they don't get the final movie design before they actually have to produce the action figure. And if there's changes in the movie made on the fly, Hasbro can't really just jump in and say, oh, well, we're changing this, make the figure next week. And it's double shame because the movie's been pushed back now. But I do like the overall design of the costume. It's very Red Guardian-ish, but it's also very MCU-ish. Just like MCU Captain America, the beats are all there, the overall feel, but it's also brought into real life. The straps and the materials and the textures and the boots, you know, how things would work in the real world. And it's really nicely sculpted and painted. The star on the chest, the straps coming down like that's being held on, even the buckles on the shoulders, straps at the bracers, the pouches on the belt, the buckles, the texture on the costume, there's a lot to look at here. And then the lower legs nicely match the lower arms. Almost a flight suit, maybe? From what we've seen of the trailers, Red Guardian's a bulky guy, and this is skewing more towards muscular bulky. But I think up at the head is where it suffers the most. The likeness isn't really that close, and then again, from what we see in the trailer, the beard and the hair doesn't match. And then on the packaging, there's even the helmet look, which we don't get in plastic form. It wouldn't surprise me as we get closer to the movie that we see Red Guardian again. But as off as it is from what we know of the movie, for what it is, you know, a bearded dude, it looks good for what that is. Just a tiny bit of gray dry brush on the hair. Overall proportions, though, I love that he is a little bit bulky. This is the guy that you want backing you up in a bar fight or a superhero showdown, whatever. I also like that these aren't just bright white. It's toned down to a gray, again adding to the realism and not just overtaking the overall design. Going over articulation, there is a hinge. Going over articulation, oh no, it's a dumbbell joint at the neck. I was about to say good old hinge, but they've kind of swapped it. Can still look up a little bit, down, but that adds to the tilt, so Hasbro, I'm good with this. There's just so much you can do with a subtle little nod, you know? Swivels, hinge at the shoulder comes up all the way around. Bicep, double elbow comes up to there. These straps coming around get in the way of elbow. Hinge at the fist, swivel, torso clicks forward, back, swivel at the waist, hidden by the belt. Ball, hip coming out, back. Ooh, probably best we've seen of the wave so far. Swivel at the thigh does break up the pocket out there. Double knee, get around, bing. Swivel at the boot, ankle hinges all the way back. Nice forward facing pin. For accessories, he comes with this nice shield. Wait a second, what is going on here? It is not symmetrical. First off though, all this is sculpted on. Very nice effort on Hasbro's part. Again, could have been painted on, nope. And like I mentioned, it is not symmetrical. You can see that the star goes off here and also the other way here. And I had it like this, so I was thinking, oh, that is strange. But if you get to the point where those are both on top, yeah, that looks okay. And then on the back we have the peg and we have the clip. I don't really like these clips. You get them stretched out just a little bit, they're going to snap, they're going to break. But his wrist seems to be a nice diameter for that clip. But if you just want it on his back, you can push that in and then just plug. And I always like this look. It's, you know, at ease. And for some reason, I love the presence of this figure. The stance, the silhouette it cuts. Red Guardian stands at 6 1/4 inches tall, which puts him at a good size with the Black Widow from this wave and then the Marvel Legends in-game Captain America. But if you want to go comic booky, here's the Marvel Legends 80th anniversary Captain America and then the Marvel Legends Red Guardian. I want to look at Winter Soldier. And I needed a good comic Winter Soldier for my shelf, and I may have it now. Before we get too far though, it does reuse the movie Black Panther Killmonger body. At least for the most part. It reuses the right arm, the pants, and the boots. The thigh strap, ammo carrier thing, whatever that is. And then the belt with more ammo and grenades and everything. Even the same gun. And I think a new torso. You can see the buttons running up the side right there. The grooves running across. And then it has this torso harness with the pouches across the front because, again, you can never have too many pouches, right? What's he carrying these? Memory sticks. There does seem to be a slight wash to that, and then silver painted on the buckle. That's the same thing for the belt here. They painted the grenades, the buckle, and then there is a pistol sculpted in the holster, but at least they painted that. I mean, it could have been just the same brown color, which would have sucked, but here, at least it feels like a separate piece, except you can't holster the actual pistol the figure comes with. There's a gunmetal paint here to differentiate that from the brown of the leather. You can see they added another layer of lighter blue dry brush up here on the torso. Works really well to bring out all that detail, but I wish that carried on down to the blue of the arm. And even the pants, where it would bring out this nice texture and wrinkle detail. And I also believe the metal left arm is new too. It's a light marbleized plastic. It's okay, but I would have liked to seen it this color that we see with the Build-A-Figure for this very wave. Slightly more metallic, more shiny. This is the good guy Bucky because of the star up on the shoulder. And then at the head, I like this look. I prefer the long-haired Bucky, but when it comes to being a good guy, I feel like this should have at least come with an alternate short-haired head. But I am completely good with this, especially this light brown dry brush on top of the black. It just does a lot to punch up the detail. And then the mask is actually sculpted on the face. The eyes are painted in. A little cartoony, but at the same time, this is comic book Bucky. I feel like the head kind of rides high though. Oh, they went dumbbell joint here too. Now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it. Articulation can look up, even with a little bit of long hair back here. Down, but you can't bury the chin. Dumbbell joint isn't going to go around there. But you know what that means. There's some tilt. Swivel. Arm hinges. Oh, tight detents. Past 90. All the way around. Bicep. Double elbow. Ooh, past 90. Something I just noticed, though. The watch is a separate piece. And you can see the sculpted detail of the fingerless gloves on the middle hand. But the glove is just painted on the right hand. Man, not super noticeable, but once you see it. Torso forward, back, swivel at the waist, ball at the hip, comes forward, back, out. Still not 90, but not terrible. Swivel at the thigh, double knee. Oh yeah, easy. Boom, 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 boom. I feel like the boot is a separate piece, but there's no swivel to it. Ankle hinges back, forward, that way, and then some rocker. For accessories, he comes with this rifle cast in a slightly metallic black. The thing is bouncy though. Slips into the hand, trigger finger. That's not terrible. But he also comes with a pistol. And that's not bad. Cast in the same darker metallic plastic. It's realistic, which these days, I'm okay when we get realistic guns, but you're not going to be putting it in the holster because it has a sculpted gun in there. Bucky stands at about 6.5 inches tall, and here he is with Marvel Legends 80th Captain America and the Walmart exclusive Gray Black Widow. Gray Black Widow. He's grown quite a bit since the Bucky Cap days. The scale of the line has gotten bigger over the years. And then it's time to look at Yelena. I really thought that this was going to reuse some parts from either the Infinity War Black Widow or one of the Black Widows that we've gotten recently, but I think this is an all-new sculpt. It's essentially just a white bodysuit. You see armor plates at the shoulders. There's armor plating down at the knees. A boot sculpt with the white strap going around. Some seam lines running up and around, and oh, well, there's elbow pads too. She has the same type of widow stings as Black Widow, but this time they're more of a gray metallic color. Black gloves that stand out against the whole suit comes in and matches the holster strap and the belt. And at first I thought these gray straps were sculpted to the body, but they are actually separate pieces because you pull away right here and you can see the strap coming up with it. And then the belt itself and these straps coming down are completely separate piece. They're not glued. These come down to 3 daggers on her left hip and then a holster for the gun on her right. Silver to the buckle of the belt, but most surprisingly, I thought, like the Infinity War Black Widow, that the vest would be a separate piece. But this time around, it's the actual sculpted torso. That helps make it feel more form-fitting, but at the same time, it seems a little bit, I don't know, thin, restrictive, something. It brings some green into the overall color palette, and then some black and some silver. I wish there was a wash to the body, because looking at it through the camera at least, boy, woo, it washes out. But you get it in some shadow, or, you know, not the review lights, and the details pop a bit more. At the head, I'm not as familiar with the likeness here as I am with, you know, the Black Widow Scarlett Johansson that has been in how many movies now. So I'm not sure how well this matches, but I love the overall look here. Especially the braided hair. It's such a nice sculpt. And for an action-oriented character, not having hair hanging down in the back makes it more action figure-y. And then the photo reel brings back that slight softness, which ups the realism a bit. Love the eyes, the eyebrows, the slight color to the lips, and it also integrates that same, get off there, same dumbbell joint at the top of the neck. It is slightly loose up at the head, but it stays in position. And those seem like very thin elbows. Even with the belt straps glued, they don't get in the way of the hips. That dumbbell, it gives you some up, and you can't bury the chin. And now I'm noticing, without the hair hanging down, that gap's up in the back. Boy, Hasbro can't win, can they? Tilt! Swivel. Shoulder pad goes inside the body for a hinge that comes up to 90. All the way around. Elbow past 90. Also swivels. Hinge. Swivel. Ball joint mid-torso. Not the greatest range, but it's not bad. More back than forward. But then there's nice side to side. Ball at the hip goes forward. Back. Out. Oh, they're trying. Sole at the thigh. Double knee. Oh, no problem at all. Look at that. Made for it. Beep, 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 beep. Hinge at the ankle goes back, forward, and forward-facing pin. For accessories, there are 2 fists. Those pop out. Bracers are also a separate piece if you wanted to take those off too. But then you swap on 2 trigger fingers. And then she also comes with what are apparently the standard issue Black Widow pistols. Yeah, they're the same. But like I pointed out, she only has a holster on her right hip. Nothing on the left, so I guess she'll constantly be holding this one. Height-wise, she stands at 5 15/16, which works out great with her wave mates Black Widow and Red Guardian. But you can see the differences in the vests between the Infinity War Black Widow and then the Deluxe White Widow. Nice day for a green vest, blonde hair. And then finally, let's open up Taskmaster. What in the... So Hasbro, I gotta do surgery to get the damn arrow out of there? God, so much trouble. Oh, and I knew there was a reason I saved Taskmaster for last. Last Master. Because I've grown to like the design the more I've looked at it over the past several months. Plus Taskmaster, at least in the comics, is a cool character. And for the costume itself, like I've said for several months, I feel like it integrates some of the best parts of the comic book design into a realistic type suit. It takes some udon with the blues and the armor plates and the hood without a cape. It takes some of the classic costume with the oranges and the blues and then this coming down to kind of give you the cape flavor. And even the animated design with the silver armor plates here and there. It's not the classic skull, but it's skull-like. I can see why people call it, you know, extreme snowboarding and such with these goggles on top, but at the same time, it feels Taskmaster-ish, especially when it's skewed away with the udon design. There's so much to look at here with the armor plating up on the shoulders. The belt is a separate piece you can ride high or low, and it has these pouches hanging down onto the hips. It comes around to the back to a simple kind of design that blends in. But then there's armor plates, thighs, the knees, the shins. Actually, that's part of the boot design. Again, bringing that pirate boot element from the classic look. It's got a cuff at the top of the boot. For the most part, especially from the back, it's this dark drab blue, but then it's punched up a little bit with these metallic blues here, the orange just sticking straight out in your face, but not overdone because orange, 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 it's not all over. Blue, blue, blue. And then up at the head, like the skull in the comics, the silver face mask draws your attention. And then the hood does the same thing. It brings that blue design up here, carries the white over from the cape. Well, I say cape, whatever this scarf thing is. And then a little bit of orange again. So while the overall design is jarring, the more you look at it, the more you think, oh, well, Barney Toastmaster just upgraded. That's about it. The hood is attached to the top of the head, so it doesn't really get in the way of articulation, while bending around and looking fairly natural from most angles. The scarf does a lot to hide that too, to bring it back behind it. The shoulder pad seems a little bit bulky, but it disappears into the socket. It is a softer, separate piece sitting on top of the shoulder. And these dings and dents right here, I think I did that. If you just try to shove it up there, you can see that it crashes into this plastic piece at the top of the shoulder. And what I did when I first got it out of the package, I noticed there was butterfly joints. I took the arm and I raised it up, and then I started working the butterfly shoulder across. Yep, you can see that I'm mangling it the more I do that. You gotta be careful to get it inside there and then do that. But you know what? I'm okay with a little battle damage up here on the top of the shoulders. And then I don't know if... Nope, they went back to the hinge up at the ball. And you can see that there's a secondary scarf. He is a dapper mother... All that together, though, he can look up a little bit. Can bury the chin, but the hood is springy. Pushes his head up. There's tilt under all that. Swivel, the butterfly joint at the shoulder. Not a lot of movement there. Subtle. Hinge at the shoulder comes up all the way around. Oh, what's going on there? Oh, detents. Straight bicep again, but hidden by that shoulder pad. Double elbow. Oh, not bad at all. That's actually impressive with the sculpt work here. That's odd. You can... The lower elbow actually bends backwards. Hinge, swivel. Hinge at the torso clicks, whoa, all the way forward. Arc back runs into this backpack thing, so not as much as usual, but I don't use that as much as this. Swivel at the waist, hips come forward, back. Oh, okay, he's got the best out. Still not 90, but better than the rest. Swivel at the thigh, hidden behind this armor plate coming up. Double knee, what do we got here? Oh, no, he's bulky at the boot. Hinge at the ankle goes back, goes forward facing pin for rocker. For accessories, Taskmaster has 2 fists. Pull him out. He has 2 gnarly open clawed hands, which I figure is him using Black Panther abilities. But then there's also 2 grip hands, 1 standard grip hand and 1 trigger finger grip hand. And that's to hold his accessories like his sword, which is just a standard Taskmaster thing. The classic design had a sword. Here's his modern, realistic sword. Well, I say realistic, what the hell's an orange blade doing on the front of that? Got a thick handle, too. Also comes with a bow, standard Taskmaster colors here. And of course, this is Hawkeye's ability. Also comes with an arrow. That arrowhead seems a little bit large for this scale. And there's a notch on the bow for it, but it doesn't clip in. It just kind of... And unfortunately, it's not an actual bowstring. You can get it back a little bit, but it looks... So that's a little bit tough. I don't care too much for that. Then he has his classic Taskmaster shield, or his small trash can lid. I can understand he's mimicking a lot of abilities like the bow, the sword, so he's carrying a lot of gear. The shield being small like this and compact, it makes sense. It just looks odd because we're so used to seeing Captain America's shield be bigger. You know, like the classic shield. Or, well, this is not the classic one, but a bigger shield. Can't help this initial feeling of, ooh, that's tiny. It's got the same setup on the back. It has the clip that goes around the hand, or you can flip it down and... Does he have a hole? Oh, what? There's a peg! There's no hole! I guess if you break the clip, he can hold the peg, but... Okay, wait a second. I can see some stress marks right there where the pegs go side to side into here. So I guess I'm not flipping that too much. There you go. That'll stay like that. Taskmaster stands at 6.5 inches tall and looks good with the Marvel Legends Black Widow and Red Guardian from this wave. But see, doesn't it look like an evolution of both the classic and the cartoon designs? He's got T's on his knees. What more do you want? And then finally, there is the Build-A-Figure Crimson Dynamo. Let's see. Then go here. Get your leg on. Push and twist. Nope. What? Get on there. Here I am looking at the top going, is that the left or the right? That's the left hand. Dummy. Other arm. Oh, look at that. Ball joint at the bottom of the neck. That goes under the head. Obviously. That's basic anatomy. Oh, what the hell's this? I'm assuming... Oh, yep. Okay. That's an odd piece to have separate. Maybe to thin down the torso to get it in a package, I guess. And then the 2 shoulder pads... I don't see a right and left. Oh, no, there's an R and an L. But if you look at the back of the package, these stacks go on the right side. No, oh, they snap in. Yep. Okay, the right arm was stuck, but it seemed to snap and then just go. The shoulder pads kind of hide it, but at first I thought, are these Colossus parts? But it has these rivets running down the side right there with a cool design. And while it's not the Crimson Dynamo we asked for or expected or wanted, I like this design. Don't get me wrong, I still want that other classic design. Apparently this was used in a mini-series and then short-lived other appearance. But I love this big bulky bastard. They've done the paint on the orange star here. It's simple, but because of how it's outlined or something, it's got a slight glow to it. The armored shoulder pads, you have layers, you have rivets, there's cracks running in it. It makes it feel worn and aged a bit. It's been used. It gets fairly smooth on top. Well, at least on this side. On this side, you could still see the cracks running all the way up and over. Back has that same effect. Yes, it's just red stuck in the middle of that, but you think, oh, it's supposed to glow. More industrial details running all the way back. The legs should seem familiar. They're reused from the old Ironmonger Build-A-Figure. And while I'd like to see the same segmented look carry on all the way down to here, it's there a little bit, so I can't complain too much. But it feels like part of the overall piece. And then the head with the same orange from here, like it's glowing too. The face part that matches the arms and the legs and the torso makes it feel very industrial and kind of steampunkish, I guess, in places. But I think my favorite aspect are these green glowy, I keep saying glowy, but they're not glowing. It's just a translucent green plastic, but I don't know, it feels like there's stuff in it. You get it in the light just right and it starts to glow. This would look amazing with some backlighting. Surprisingly agile here. Ball joint at the top of the neck, along with the ball joint at the bottom, you can look up. But that also comes all the way down. But you know what that means? Oh shit, tilts for days. Swivel the shoulder pads because of the pins on the front, the pins on the back. And I like how these points on the sculpt right there integrate into the star on the chest. Hinge at the shoulder comes up because of the shoulder pads. You're not going to get too far around. Swivel at the bicep. Single elbow comes up to 90. Well, almost 90. Swivel, hinge. Let's do this. Get out. Ball joint mid-torso. Not bad. Hula hoop and Dynamo. Peg coming out from the waist into a hinge and swivel comes up, back. Oh, that would have been amazing if he was the one that go 90 in this wave, but it's about right there. Swivel, double knee. Man, you knew that wasn't gonna go any further than that. Oh, that design's kind of neat, and I know this is reuse, but I guess in this silver, it kind of stands out. And it ties up into this design. Oh, look at that. Hinge at the foot. It seems a little bit loose, but it has no problem standing. I mean, this big bulky guy. But that also goes into a forward-facing pin. Crimson Dynamo stands at 7 3/4 inches tall, which puts him shorter than the Kree Sentry, but taller than the Ironmonger that he shares a few parts with. Well, mostly just the legs, really, now that I'm looking. But still very impressive next to the 80th Iron Man and the Marvel Legends comic book Red Guardian. So at the end of the day, another solid wave of Marvel Legends. I mean, at this point, it's almost our workhorse, you know? It's the one we can fall back to whenever we try out other waves or other lines and think, oh, these are coming out way too slow, or they're inconsistent or something. Marvel Legends, you can always go back and go, oh, well, there's another wave coming this month, and then this month, and then after that, and it's going to be 7 here, and I need the Build-A-Figure. I don't care for that, but I'm definitely going to need that. There's a little something for everyone. For Winter Soldier and Spymaster and Crossbones, nice additions to the comic shelf, especially for someone like me who didn't have a good Crossbones. I'm probably going to try to transfer a vest onto Crossbones and try to drop Bucky's neck a little bit, or head a little bit. But Spymaster is just handbook goodness. And then for the movie stuff, Taskmaster, Black Widow, Yelena, Red Guardian. I have no attachment to the movie yet, but I'm sure as soon as I see it, it'll be like, oh, these definitely need to go on the shelf. And then, like I said, with the Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure, it's not what we were expecting. It's not what a lot of people were wanting, but I'm okay with this. Again, I'll full-on take the classic Crimson Dynamo. But for now, this will be more than adequate for my shelf. It's just a fun figure, and the look of it won me over as I was messing with it. So if you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus if you're interested in seeing videos early or just in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.